Hey everybody, Dr. Crifase here. In this video, we're going to be talking about supplements and specifically probiotics and prebiotics. Now, what are probiotics? Probiotics are microorganisms. You know, there's a lot of you who are taking supplements out there, in particular probiotics, and this can be fantastic, but it can also be hindering your body from healing as well, as there's many different kinds of microorganisms and probiotics on the market, and some can be contraindicated for certain conditions. Now, our human bodies are actually only about 25% human DNA. We're actually about 75% or so microorganisms or non-human DNA. So we have bacteria and other types of microorganisms growing all over our bodies in specific quantities and specific areas for good functions. So probiotics can be very effective when taken in the right amount and the right type, which we're going to be going over today here. Now, prebiotics, on the other hand, are fiber. Now, you get fiber from greens, vegetables, etc., and these prebiotics are food for your probiotics. So in order for probiotics and microorganisms to survive and live, you need fiber, you need good nutrients in the gut to help them survive. Just as our own bodies, we need specific nutrients in order to function well, so do the microorganisms and other bacteria in our bodies. So when we are looking at probiotics, there's a few things that need to be addressed before I give any patient a probiotic. We need to look at a few things and make sure that we're not going to exacerbate an already chronic condition, or we want to make the patient as optimized to their health as possible. So first, we're going to look at strains. Now, there's hundreds, if not millions, of types of strains of probiotics and obviously other bacteria in our bodies and in the world. So when we're looking at strains, we want to make sure that we're not giving a strain to a patient, whatever type of probiotic or supplement might be, that's going to make them worse. Now, I see patients very commonly, especially with unknowingly, that they have worms, they have bacterial overgrowth, they have fungus growing, they have candida, yeast, parasites, etc. They have no idea. And so oftentimes if someone has a, say, lactobacillus overgrowth, but they're taking a probiotic they found over the shelf because someone told them that it's healthy for them, well, this is going to make them a lot worse, and this can cause a lot of dysfunction. So again, these things need to be looked at, and this is why I do specific testing such as stool tests, which looks at the general gut and microbiome, and we want to look whether there's any of these overgrowths going on, and so giving a particular probiotic could be contraindicated in those cases. Next, we want to look at the amount. Now, you know, oftentimes you'll see 20 billion, 50 billion, 100 billion CFUs. This means colony forming units. So this is great, but again, we want to make sure that, you know, sometimes you don't need that much. So in general, we want at least 20 to 40 billion at least, but you know, depending on the patient and the health condition that we're dealing with, sometimes they need more, sometimes they need less. So this again is very variable and vary on a patient to patient, case by case basis. Next, we want to look at form. Now, some people are very opinionated on whether shelf stable or things you find on the shelf are better than refrigerated, or vice versa. Some people are very big proponents of refrigerated probiotics only. There's a couple things that need to be looked at though for both of these types that's very important. Now, number one, and this applies to both of these, is where was the probiotic made, and how did the probiotic get to the store or wherever it is for the patient? So was the probiotic, if it's shelf stable, first of all, are there, again, live microorganisms or microorganisms that can be activated? How many of those are actually going to be activated? And same for refrigeration. Oftentimes, where was the product coming from? Was it coming from, say, Texas? Did the product not have, Texas can be very hot, and other places in the world can be very hot, but that's one place that, you know, did the probiotic experience any bouts of heat where this will kill off the bacteria? And so maybe it says that you're getting 25 billion colony forming units, but actually when you take it, maybe it was exposed to heat and now you're only getting 10. And then how many of those are going to survive in the stomach based on, well, do you have enough prebiotics? And then we're looking at, again, absorption. So, you know, for both both of these, does the patient have sufficient stomach acid, and is the probiotic able to survive through stomach acid, which we know stomach acid is highly acidic, more acidic than battery acid. So we have very protective mechanisms within the stomach to protect it from other parts of the gut. Now your gut, again, remember, is one big long tube from your mouth to your anus, and you have different bacteria along different areas, but we don't want, again, bacteria in our stomach. That's where digestion takes place. We don't want a lot of bacteria in our small intestine either. We want most of this in our large intestine. So often patients can have what's known as bacterial overgrowth. So small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, where bacteria actually starts to crawl up from the large intestine into the small intestine. This causes a lot of problems, digestion problems, absorption, malabsorption issues. So a lot of things can occur with that, but we're talking about probiotics today. Now, are very important, and it's always important to assess all of these little nuances with probiotics and whether they are shelf-stable in refrigeration. So again, there's a lot of things that come into play here. Next, we want to look at prebiotics. Now, as we said, prebiotics are very, very important. And if we're taking probiotics and we're eating a poor diet, we're taking probiotics and we're not eating a lot of vegetables, we're not eating a lot of greens, we're not eating a lot of things, fiber for our probiotics, a lot of these probiotics are not going to survive. You're not going to get the beneficial effects of the probiotics. Now, there's lots of studies and research being done on probiotics and bacteria in general, and the beneficial effects that specific bacteria can have in the body. So again, we want to make sure that we're providing good environments for the probiotics, which not only include good gut function, which again needs to be addressed on a patient-to-patient basis, but also we need to make sure that we're giving the probiotics and microorganisms good enough and enough food, such as prebiotics, so that they can survive. So this is a very big topic, and this is just a very brief overview on this today, but I hope this video helped you. Again, I'm Dr. Anthony Crifase, and have a great day.